He's the head man.
106.9 WZAA LP, Jeffersonville.
And we are live. We're live from Urbana, Ohio. We've got the Notre Dame team coming into play, the Urbana team. These are the Notre Dame Falcons against the Urbana Blue Knights. Yeah. And we've got Bill Ray back here doing our play-by-play. I'll be adding whatever I can in the way of color. I'm going to be taking care of the camera, and we'll be live here in about 30 minutes with the start of this game.
Very good. Well, I'm Bill the Razor Rayback, and of course this is Campus Nation's Game of the Week.
As well as WZAA. We're live.
Oh, okay, we are on WZAA. I didn't know that we were going to be on ZAA today, so that's...
Yeah, we switched off ZAA from the Wilmington game to this game, and Wilmington will probably play later on our broadcast.
On a delayed basis.
Since they're starting in another hour anyway.
Okay, so we're here in Urbana at the beautiful new stadium of the Knights, and you've got the 5-1 Notre Dame College Falcons from Euclid, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, playing the Urbana Blue Knights. And Rick, this is a Mountain East Conference game. Both teams participate in primarily a West Virginian conference. And, you know, as I say, Notre Dame comes in with a 5-1 record. They lost their very opener to number 7 ranked Shepherd, 54-49, and then they've won on a 5-game winning streak.
Since Shepherd in their conference as well?
Shepherd is a conference game. They are in the Mountain East Conference, and then they went on a 5-game tear where they beat Glenville State 35-10. They were at West Virginia State and pulled out a 47-35 victory. Beat Concord 44-13. We're at West Liberty, had a 5-point win there, 24-15. Fairmont, and they won last week against Fairmont State 19-14. So impressive season for the Falcons who come in here. You know, they're a relatively new program, Rick. Notre Dame College was a all-women's school for a long time, and then I want to say maybe 15, I don't think it's 20 years, but maybe 15 years ago, they started the program up here, and they allowed men to come in. Of course, now they have a full complement of sports. Urbana similarly started their football program in the 1980s, and I had a young man come up here to visit from Florida. That's how I became acquainted with this program, and actually had a player from Cardinal Stritch High School who ended up playing here, a young man by the name of Rick Rykow, who was a starting center for them here. So we have a little history with Urbana. Urbana's headed up by Tyler Haynes, who's in his 3rd season, and has done a really nice job with this program, getting it on its feet. I was looking at the kids on their roster and the people they've been able to recruit. And, Rick, they have some nice-looking athletes, and they have a definite local connection when you look at all the kids from Springfield and Dayton, Beaver Creek, in that area. So we'll tie nicely into our WZAA broadcast area as far as some kids that they may recognize from their days in high school here. And then, of course, with Notre Dame, they come in coached by Mike Jacobs, and Jacobs was he's 14-3 in his 2 years here, and he is 13-3 in the Mountain East Conference. So he's had a good run here. He is assisted by Mickey Mennel, from former coach at Brookside High School, and Joe Staub is the defensive coordinator. Joe was with the 49ers and San Jose State, so some good experience there. When we look at the assistant coaches, Rick, for Urbana, we'll see a familiar face there, as the defensive coordinator is Stacy Hairston.
Stacy's here,
yes, huh? And Stacy
from Wilmington fame, huh?
From Wilmington College, where he was there for 4 years. He has 20 years of coaching experience, played professionally with the Cleveland Browns, 7 years total, some in the CFL, some in the NFL. And so Stacy is here as defense coordinator. Of course, we know Stacy pretty well from his days in Wilmington. And then, Jim Cordell, bringing more professional experience, the former Ohio State center who played with the New York Giants, is the offensive line coach / run coordinator here. So a nice coaching matchup. We'll take a look here at a second at the starting lineups for these two teams. Let's take a look at the visiting defense for Notre Dame College. As I said, Joe Staub is defensive coordinator. He's assisted by Mike Ulrich. The Falcons are giving up 24.2 points a game. They're allowing 405 total yards a game. They give up 109 yards rushing, and they give up 296 yards passing per game. Looking at the defensive line, defensive end, number 96, senior Claudie Mathau. Number 55, senior Jalen Avant. Number 95, sophomore Tyson Jackson. And number 94, Derek Brumfeld, a sophomore. They round out the defensive front, and a pretty imposing defensive front, Rick. When I look at it, each one of those young men, 3 out of 4 of them have a sack, at least one sack, with Claudie Mathau having 4 sacks on the season. They all have a number of tackles for losses, so it's a very active defensive front. Looking at the linebackers in a 4-2-5 set for the Falcons, they have number 45, R.J. Goodwin, who has 1 interception on the season, and number 43, junior Sean Jones. At free safety, they have number 2, Xavier Dowdle, a senior. Number 25, sophomore Curtis Collins, has 28 tackles, 2 TFLs, and 1.5 sacks for the season. At right corner, they'll have number 33, Taven Hooks, who's a freshman. At free safety, they have number 29, Alex Zelch, freshman. They also have at left corner, Jeff Thomas, who is a redshirt freshman who has 35 tackles and 1 interception. So that rounds out the defense for Notre Dame. On the offensive side for Urbana, Tyler Haynes, as we say, is the third-year head coach. The Blue Knights are 3-3. Last week they lost 51-41 against the University of Virginia Wise. They are averaging 23.3 points per game. They are putting up 329 yards a game total offense, which breaks down to 140 yards rushing and 189 yards passing per contest. Starting offensive line for the Blue Knights, at left tackle, number 62, Dylan Swanson. At left guard, number 55, Gary Hoover. At center, number 66, Doug Harden. At right guard, number 64, Mike Mullahan. And at right tackle, number 57, Devin Pankey. At quarterback, it'll be Tajon Green, the senior, number 2. He has produced 129 yards passing, 134 yards rushing, and has 13 touchdown passes on the season. At running back will be sophomore Maurice Warren, number 20. Maurice has 496 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. He has 13 yards receiving, 495 yards. At tight end will be number 35, Cameron Gilbert, a junior. At wide receiver is senior, probably the player that Notre Dame's going to have to stop, Rick, is Trayvon Saunders. Trayvon has 30 receptions for 415 yards and 4 TDs. On the other side, just as dangerous, is sophomore number 1, Rodell Rahman. Has 19 receptions for an average of 15.5 yards per catch and 8 touchdowns. And their third receiver is number 12, junior Sherman Hooks, who has 14 catches for 170 yards. So that rounds out the offense. Now let's take a look at the Urbana defense, which will be facing, of course, the Notre Dame offense. And on the defensive side, at defensive end, number 27, sophomore Mike Tolliver, 26 tackles, 10.5 tackles for losses, and 5 sacks. So the Falcons will definitely have to pay attention to Tolliver. At defensive tackle, number 91, senior Clayton Bullard, 27 tackles, 6.5 TFLs, and 4.5 sacks. At nose guard, number 42, junior Isaiah Turner. And at defensive end, sophomore number 43, Onaway Davenport, and I hope we'll have to get a check on that pronunciation. Apologize if I got that wrong. The Sam linebacker for the Knights is number 25, Jalen Spears, a redshirt freshman. At middle linebacker is number 10, senior Josh Dillard. Josh has 36 tackles, 6 TFLs, and 2 sacks on the season. And the big player that I think that the Falcons will really have to pay attention to is will linebacker Dure Hall, number 15, a sophomore. He has 60 tackles, 13 TFLs, and 7 sacks on the year. Its strong safety for the Knights will be senior number 7, Andre Cliff. Andre has 1 interception for a 47-yard return and 18 tackles. At left corner will be sophomore number 23, Sherman Watson, with 1 interception and 26 tackles. At safety will be redshirt freshman number 14, Jeremiah Fuller. At the right corner position will be junior number 13, Richie Carpenter, has 1 interception to his credit and 18 tackles. And then in the return game, number 4, Trayvon Saunders, returns both punts and kicks for the Knights. Okay. And we've got a correction on number 43,
Ladies and gentlemen, at this
Onaje. Okay, Onaje Davenport is the defensive end. And let's pause for a second for the national anthem.
.9 WZAA-LP, Jeffersonville.
And we are live. We're live from Urbana, Ohio. We've got the Notre Dame team coming into play, the Urbana team. These are the Notre Dame Falcons against the Urbana Blue Knights. And we've got Bill Ray back here doing our play-by-play. I'll be adding whatever I can in the way of color. I'm going to be taking care of the camera. And we'll be live here in about 30 minutes with the start of this game.
Very good. Well, I'm Bill the Razor Rayback, and of course this is Campus Nation's Game of the Week.
As well as WZAA. We're live.
Oh, okay, we are on WZAA. I didn't know that we were going to be on ZAA today, so that's...
Yeah, we switched off ZAA from the Wilmington game to this game, and Wilmington will probably play later on our broadcast.
On a delayed basis.
Since they're starting in another hour anyway.
Okay, so we're here in Urbana at the beautiful new stadium of the Knights, and you've got the 5-1 Notre Dame College Falcons from Euclid, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, playing and we're back here on Campus Nation, WZA 106.9 LPFM in Jeffersonville with the Notre Dame College Falcons versus the Urbana Blue Knights right here in Urbana, Ohio. Getting back to our rosters for today's games, as I say, we corrected the pronunciation for number 43, the defensive end, Onaje Davenport, the sophomore, and another player's name that I slaughtered there was number 1, Radel Rockman, the wide receiver for the Knights. So I apologize to those two gentlemen for that. And let's take a look as we finish up the defense for Urbana. And as I say, doing the return game is Trayvon Saunders. Saunders is averaging 17.8 yards per return in the punt game with 1 return for a touchdown. And then Trayvon Saunders has a 25.4 yard average and 1 TD in the kick return game. So, Rick, he's a pretty formidable player that has a return for a touchdown in both the punt and kickoff game. So that's going to make him doubly tough for the Falcons to contain. Kicking for the Knights is junior Josh Cole, and then the punter is number 17, Brandon Perk. And now let's take a look at the Notre Dame offense, again coached by Mike Jacobs, the second-year man with a 14-3 record, okay, assisted by Mickey Mennel. The Falcons won last week over Fairmont State 19-14. They are averaging 36 points a game. They are putting up 423 yards of total offense per game. That breaks down to 267 yards rushing and 155 yards passing per contest. Starting at left tackle for Notre Dame will be sophomore number 51, Mike Kyle. At left guard, redshirt freshman number 79, Brandon Nicholson. At center, senior number 59, Justin Admonson. At right guard, junior number 58, Austin Treniff. At right tackle, senior number 63, Tyler Butler. Taking a look at the quarterback for Notre Dame, it will be number 6, Malik Grove. He's a senior who has 621 yards rushing for all 6 touchdowns. He's also thrown for 934 yards and 10 TDs. At running back for the Falcons will be junior number 28, Brian Walker, who has 567 yards and 6 touchdowns on the season. Other running backs that we'll see during the course of the game will be DJ Green, 567 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 51 yards, and number 2, Nehemiah Brown, a junior with 274 yards with a 10.1 yard average and 2 TDs. Receivers for the Falcons are sophomore number 87, Connor Henry, 2 catches for 23 yards. Also, number 10, Darius Johnson, senior, with 10 catches for 81 yards. Number 1, Emmanuel Smith, a senior, 41 catches for 300 yards and 2 TDs. Wide receiver, number 7, Marvell Ross, a sophomore who has 14 catches for 118 yards and 3 TDs. So, Rick, that winds up the starting lineups here for Notre Dame and Urbana. Looking at these 2 teams as we go forward, I think the keys of the game, and looking at this game purely from statistics, is I believe that Notre Dame has a pretty formidable running attack. So I think the Knights' task will be to minimize their ability to continue to move the chains. And I think that if Urbana is able to limit the yards per carry by the Falcons, I think that Urbana will have a great chance to slow down this 36-point-a-game attack. Defensively, I think that the Falcons will present a challenge for Urbana, as they have 3 out of their 4 defensive linemen have a lot of sacks, and that's going to create a problem, I think, for the Urbana offensive line. So they're going to have to figure out a way to neutralize those guys, Rick, up front. And if they can cut off the penetration, control the line of scrimmage, Urbana will have a chance to put some points on the board. And this series, in case we look at it from that standpoint, is we will have Notre Dame and Urbana tied at 3 games apiece.
So this is kind of the rubber match, huh?
This is the rubber match, and
at least for this year.
At least for this year. And Urbana is 2-1 at home here against the Falcons, so that gives a definite home field advantage to Urbana. And we're getting ready for the toss of the coin here in a second. And this was just passed to us. Number 6, Chance Short, will be starting for the Knights in place of their injured starting quarterback, Tajon Green. Tajon Green got hurt last week, and Green has accounted for over 1,000 yards passing to this point of the season, Rick. So that could be a huge problem for the Knights going into this game, as far as they're going, have to make up for that 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards that Green has accounted for through the air. So we will see how the young quarterback does when he comes into the game and how they move forward.
Want to remind everybody that on campusnation.com we have a second game that will be starting in about 30 minutes, at least the pregame, and that is the Marietta Pioneers coming in to play the Wilmington Fighting Quakers, and that is on the other Campus Nation channel. So if you get an opportunity, maybe you can switch back and forth and catch all the action on both games that we've got here on Campus Nation. You got anything else to wrap it up before we do the coin toss here?
Well, what we've got is number 4, Trayvon Saunders, is one of the captains out for the toss, and number 91, Clayton Bullard. So we will be out to see what the outcome of this is here in a second.
We got some quick scores from last night. Washington beat McLean 48-10. Wilmington over Batavia 23-7. Blanchester over Claremont Northeastern 42-0. Springfield over Beaver Creek 64-28. Clinton Massey, I don't know whether you'd call it an upset or not, the battle of the unbeatens, both 7-0. Goshen beats Clinton Massey 33-31. In the final 2 minutes of that game, they kicked the field goal. Bethel Tate over East Clinton 55-14. That was another one that you would have heard on Campus Nation last night. And Chillicothe over Miami Trace 42-7, and that was our second game last night on high school game of the week. Chillicothe over Miami Trace. Chillicothe goes to, I believe, 6-1 now. Miami Trace 1-6.
Yeah, and I guess we have to call the Goshen Massey game. I think it's a big upset. I really didn't see.
But I predicted it, and I said Massey hadn't really played any challenging teams up to that point, and that was why I thought that perhaps
Goshen might be that.
And Goshen looked awfully good against Wilmington. Granted, Wilmington was hurt, but I think Massey has got their hands full the next 2 weeks as well. They've got to go to New Richmond, who only has one loss.
Right.
And
then Wilmington at the end.
And then Wilmington at the end. And New Richmond and Goshen will probably play for a league tie or a league championship the very last game of the season.
Right.
So this is going to be an interesting final few weeks of the high school football
season. You have to believe that if Massey is able to beat New Richmond, that'll be New Richmond's biggest fan, as they can trigger a three-way tie for the title. So I would think that'll be an interesting finish on the high school football season. The Blue Knights, who are clad in silver helmets, black jerseys, blue and white numbers. The numbers are blue trimmed in white, and their gray pants with black and blue stripes down the side. Will be taking on the Falcons, who will be dressed with their blue helmets, white jerseys, and white pants. Urbana will receive here, so we will see momentarily. I would think that we're going to see Trayvon Saunders back deep for the Knights, and kicking off for Notre Dame will be number 47 redshirt freshman Tanner Harding. So
just about ready to get underway. Our game of the week next week, Saturday the 21st of October, will be the Mount Union Purple Raiders. They will be in to play the Wilmington Fighting Quakers, and that'll get underway at 1 o'clock this next week. So,
and of course that's going to be a tough uphill battle for the Quakers as they take on the number 2 team in the country. So back deep, we have a change back there. We've got number 20, Maurice Warren, the running back. And Warren will take the kick at the 5-yard line, moves up to 15, slides down at about the 19.
Looked like he sort of tripped.
Yeah, his feet slid out from underneath him on the turf here, and they will start out about the 19-yard line. The Knights will be moving from right to left if you're listening to it on the radio. And here comes the Blue Knight offense.
And of course, just a reminder, the HD video will be available on our website Monday evening, so you're listening to the game live over Campus Nation, but once again, the game will be available in its entirety, including video, Monday night.
Okay, Chance Short is the quarterback, and we have one receiver to the right, 2 to the left. We're in a offset formation with a fullback to the left, and play action fake, and Short goes deep right off the bat to number 1. And that is number 1, Radell Rockman takes takes it to the house, 81 yards, and we got a touchdown on the very first play, Rick.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. And the fans love it here.
Okay, so it didn't look like Chance Short, the 6'3", 201-pound sophomore from Proctorville, Ohio, didn't look like he was too intimidated by the start, Rick.
I don't think so.
Came right out and puts the Knights on the board. And Notre Dame's got to be somewhat shocked by that. Number 40 for the Knights kicks the ball up and true, and that's Josh Cole, the junior kicker, with the extra point. So with 14:43 to go in the first quarter, it is the Urbana Blue Knights 7 and the Notre Dame College Falcons 0. So just like that, caught lightning in the bottle, and that's got to be a great start here on a beautiful day in Urbana for the Blue Knights, Rick.
It's a beautiful day, and of course the fans love it. What a way to electrify the crowd, with an opening touchdown right there off the bat.
Absolutely. And Rick, one thing is we've been really treated to some great venues this year through the Game of the Week program.
Tom Benson Stadium, NFL Hall of Fame, and we were up there just a few weeks back.
And Ashland University Stadium. When we looked at that, we thought, wow, how can it get any better? And then we go to Tom Benson, and then we come here to Urbana. So we've seen some really nice fields.
Really nice facilities.
And even, not to be outdone, McPherson Field over at Central State, where we were last week.
They were rocking for homecoming last week.
They were, it was probably 3,000 to 4,000 people there, Rick, and it was a great day for the Marauder faithful as far as the homecoming festivities. Unfortunately, Central State was not able to pull that one out.
Miles beat them, but that game will be available on our website tonight.
And I tell you what, a great rushing display by two good running backs in that game is Terrace Saffold ripped off 197 for Central State, and then Justin Hardy for Miles, not to be outdone, ran for 210.
Well, we've got lightning in a bottle here to open this game. Urbana is leading right now 7-0. Just an incredible pass and catch and touchdown right here for the first play of the game.
And as we said, Chance Short, the sophomore quarterback, gets into the scorebook real quick in the game. And sometimes when you have a young quarterback like that, Rick, you don't like to put him in that situation. But apparently, Coach Haynes had a lot of confidence in him and went deep right off the bat. So we will have the kickoff coming here, and it will be, I believe, number 40, Josh Cole again, will be kicking off for the Urbana Blue Knights. Really like those uniforms of Urbana's, Rick.
Really sharp, aren't they?
Very much like the Carolina Panthers in a lot of ways, if our fans are trying to visualize what it looks like.
Well, they're not watching NFL football anymore, so they may not know.
Nobody's been watching it recently with a -5 rating. So the kick by Cole is deep into the end zone, and that one's going to come out to the 25, and that's where the Falcons will start with the ball, Rick. And so let's take a look here for the Notre Dame offense. Malik Grove, I think this is number 6, the quarterback for the Falcons. The offense seems to circle around him as he has counted for 621 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns, and 934 yards passing, just under 1,000 for the season. And he himself has produced 10 touchdown passes. So Grove lines up in the pistol. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. They are on the 25-yard line. They are moving left to right on your radio dial. And Grove gives the ball off. A short gain for Brian Walker, the junior running back. Gets the ball out for about a 1-yard gain to the 26-yard line.
Gain of 1 on the play, 2nd and 9, ball to 26.
And so the Knights are looking at a 2nd and 9 and load the line of scrimmage. Pressure on Grove. Grove gets the ball out to number 10, who is able to work the ball up to the 43-yard line and a first down for the Falcons. Number 10 is Darius Johnson, the senior wide receiver, has 10 catches and 81 yards on the season. And it looks like it's going to be a no-huddle situation here with the Falcons. Grove with his back aligned to the right, and a little bit of a...
Kind of a delay.
Yeah, a little bit of a delay. Not much room for Walker, who wedges it out to about the 44-yard line, and they'll be looking at a 2nd and long 8.
Definitely playing up tempo here.
Yeah, and so we've got 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grove lines up in shotgun. Walker.
New play shuttled in, it looks like.
Okay, and it's a look offense where they're giving them a different look. They see the defense and they make the call there. They have the fullback aligned off to the right side.
Up.
And we've got a malfunction. Yeah, we got a malfunction stoppage here somewhere. So the Zebras talk it over, and they get ready for action. I think they're getting ready for action, but I'm not sure.
Moving the chain.
Now, I guess apparently the ball marker was not in the correct position. So here we go. 2nd and 8. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Grove, play action fake, gets the ball out to Johnson again for about a 6-yard gain out to the 50-yard line. And so they'll be looking at about a 3rd and 3, Rick, in a very makeable situation here for the Falcons. 2-by-2 set with the receivers, pistol formation. Grove looks the defense over, steps back, looks over to the sideline. And again, they call that the look offense, where they get a look and then the coaches will change the play accordingly. Okay, Walker sets off to the left. Grove drops, short drop, gets the ball out to Johnson, but was under pressure there.
Going to bring up 4th down.
A lot of pressure by number 91, the senior defensive tackle Clayton Bullard. Just got to him after the ball got out, Rick. If he'd have held it a second longer, it might not have been such a good situation for Grove. So a punting situation.
Good stop for the Blue Knights.
A great stop for the Blue Knights, and it's and it looks like it's number 82, Anton Vrabic, very similar to my name. And Vrabic is a rugby punt. Drives the ball down to the 20, skips down inside the 5-yard line.
Good punt.
And, wow, they're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. So the Blue Knights are facing a 99-yard field here, Rick, with 12:39 to go in the first period. And the only way that the young quarterback, Clarence Short, could outdo his first one is to throw a 99-yard touchdown pass on this one. So the Knights come out with their backs to the wall. I would suspect we probably would see a little bit of a
run.
I would think a little bit of a conservative type of call here with their backs against the wall. Head coach Tyler Haynes takes a timeout and brings the Knights over to the sideline to talk it over.
All right, so we got a timeout. We'll go ahead and
we've got a break.
Cut to a break here.
Ride brings to Clinton County Fields every Friday and Saturday night now through October 28th. Experience the fire-breathing sounds. Come aboard the sawdust school buses for a haunted ride you'll never forget. Terror in the Court, Slaughter Hotel, and the all-new Evil Asylum will chill you to the bone. Wilmington Haunted Hollow Ride, 1261 West Dalton. For more information and directions, go to WilmingtonHauntedHollowRide.com.
The final resting place, Haunted Junkyard, is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Their hours of operation are 8 p.m. till midnight every Friday and Saturday from now until October 28th. Prepare for torment from freaks of nature like Pig Boy, Patient 5150, Dr. Nightmare, and Buffalo. New in 2017 is a second attraction, Lights Out. For more information, you can contact the final resting place at 937-728-6190, thefinalrestingplace.com, or their Facebook page.
All right, we're back. We're in Urbana, Ohio, and we've got
Rick, that was
college game of the week football here.
Another looks like it's going to be another good one here, Rick, as the 5-1 Notre Dame College Falcons find themselves down 7-0 with 12:39 to go in the first quarter, and that completion by Chance Short was his first of the year. So
pretty good completion, isn't it?
Started out well, and there's
got a flag.
Little movement there. It looks like it's going to be some penetration by the Falcons, and as they jumped a little early.
Seemed like they were kind of anxious there.
Exactly. And so the ball moves it out to the 7-yard line.
So it accomplishes what they were going to do with maybe a little run here.
Yeah, but it makes it 1st and 5 from the 6-yard line. Chance looks it over. He's got 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The back, Warren, is offset to the left to Short. Short calls for the ball, and he's going to throw again, Rick. And why not? He tries to tries to get the ball out to Rodell Rockman, and Rockman was the recipient of that 81-yard touchdown pass. So goes to the well again. Of course, probably thought he had the corner loosened up a little bit as he hit Rockman deep for that 81-yarder to start out the game. Fullback offset to the right, Warren to the right of Short. Short has 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Play action fake, and he's going up again. And out to number 4, Trayvon Saunders, the all-time offensive whip. Let's check that out. I know that he is a record holder here for the Knights. And Saunders has been putting up great numbers all year here as he surpassed 5,000 yards in career offense last week, Rick. So it's quite an accomplishment. So short and shotgun, Warren offsets to the right, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Short gives the ball to Warren, and Warren is up through the hole, up to the 20-yard line, squirts out to about the 22.
Well, he's softened them up now for the runs.
Yeah. They see that the Knights are looking at being a pass-first team, and Warren caught him off guard. Nice little run. That's going to second and short. Rick, you can do a lot of different things from this situation on the 22-yard line. Okay, 3 receivers to the left, and in the pistol.
Let a quarterback
and
keep
Warren in the pistol is able to pick up about 2-3 yards and picks up a first down at the 25. And the Knights are on the move again, Rick, at 11:28 to go in the first period. 7-0 the Urbana Blue Knights over the Notre Dame College Falcons. Okay, pistol formation in the backfield. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Warren moves to the left of Short. Short gets out a little bubble screen, and Short gain about 6 yards. And Shamar Hooks picks up 6 yards on first down, Rick. So they're looking at 2nd and 4, and as long as the Knights can get these 2nd and short situations, they should be able to have some good offensive success here. So the ball is moved out to the 31-yard line of the Knights. Chance Short in the pistol formation. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Short looks it over. Looks like a blitz by the Falcons, and no fooling the Falcons on that one as Maurice Warren is pulled down for about a yard loss. So they'll be looking at 3rd and probably 4 yards here, Rick, and still not a real bad situation on 3rd down to be in.
Just a reminder on the other Campus Nation station, in about 15 minutes we get underway from Wilmington, Ohio. It's homecoming at Wilmington, and we'll have another crew there bringing you the game from Wilmington, Ohio.
Good luck to the Quakers and Coach Brian Moore. Short and shotgun, Warren off to his left. Quick drop by Short, and Short overthrows number 12, Shamar Hooks, the junior wide receiver, and it's going to be punting time as number 17, junior Brandon Perk, comes out to punt for the Knights. So, I guess the best thing out of that, Rick, is the Knights were able to move their back away from the end zone. They've got out to the 30, so this field position is not going to be as devastating as if it would have been 3 and out down on the 1-yard line. Okay, back deep for Notre Dame is number 7, Marvell Ross, the sophomore, has a 20-yard average, and the ball is out of bounds. And also back with him is number 28, junior running back Brian Walker. So the Knights go on defense here as Notre Dame will take over the ball. Appears to be about the
15.
They're going to mark it at it looks like all the way back to the 15-yard line.
65-yard punt.
65-yard punt.
Not bad.
And Rick, they flipped the field basically.
That's right.
And so the the Blue Knight defense comes out ready to attack. And the Falcons sprint out to the sideline. I suspect we'll see some more of the look no-huddle offense. And so number 6, senior quarterback Malik Grove lines up in the pistol, has 2 receivers to the right, tight end to the left, and he gives the ball off to number 2, who squirts the ball forward to the 20-yard line. And that is Nehemiah Brown, the junior running back, hits 274 yards and averages 10.1 yards per carry, Rick. 3 receivers to right, give him to Brown again, and Brown moves the chains as he gets another 5-yard gain, squirting the ball out to about the 25-yard line. And, you know, the one thing about this pace offense, Rick, is it can wear your defense out if you can't get them off the field. 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. 3 receivers to the right, back to the left, motion right to left, and Grove keeps the ball, and he's able to get the ball out to the 29-yard line and pick up a 3. So the Falcons will be looking at a 2nd and 7 with 9:01 to go in the first period. The Urbana Blue Knights leading 7-0. 2 receivers to the right. Brown to the left to Grove. Grove drops to pass, and he goes deep to number 7.
Overthrows.
Marvell Ross. And
had him open.
He did. That was just a little bit too long. But that's going to take a little pressure off the Blue Knight defense, Rick, as now they have a 3rd and 7 situation. And it's going to kind of dictate the hand for the Falcons is what they're going to have to do here, you would think. 3 receivers in a trips formation to the right, 1 to the left. Grove looks over to the sideline to get the call as the coach is diagnosing what he sees on defense. Brown lines up to the left of Grove. Grove calls for the ball, takes a quick drop. He looks, he's under pressure, and he goes down. And what we're trying to get a number on that, looks like it's number 27. Mike Tolliver, the sophomore defensive end for the Blue Knights. That's his 6th sack of the season, Rick. And Urbana turns away the challenge, and they're going to get the ball back probably in pretty good field position here. Okay. So punting is Anton Verbeek, and Verbeek gets a towering kick down to about the Knights' 40-yard line where it's fair caught, and that's where the Knights will take over as Chance Short comes out for his 3rd series. 7:56 to go in the period, and it looks like the officials they're talking to the chain crew. Well, looks like we might have a penalty here, Rick. As the Zebras talk it over and decide what they're going to do here. The ball appears to be almost at the 41-yard line of the Blue Knights. And so looks like they get ready to move the chains. And, well, Rick.
What, are they going to have to repunt?
Yeah, it looks like that might be the case. Okay, so they declined the penalty. Running into the kicker, they declined the penalty. So that would not be an automatic first down, so that felt they probably weren't going to get much of a better kick than what they just got.
Right. So Urbana takes over.
And they are on their own 41-yard line. They are moving left to right on the radio dial. 7:56 to go in the first quarter, 7-0 Blue Knights. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Chance Short has Maurice Warren aligned to his left as he steps over to his right now as Warren has switched sides. Short gives him a little play-action fake, gets the ball out, and it's picked off by Notre Dame's number 25 as he returns the ball up to the Knights' 26-yard line.
QB was hit in the act of throwing, and that altered the trajectory of the ball.
It sure did. That is sophomore strong safety Curtis Collins with the pick, and that just floated the ball there, Rick. I mean, Collins played it well and was able to pick up about a 13-yard return. And
so the Falcons
Notre Dame
in the driver's seat, right?
Notre Dame takes the ball over at the 27-yard line of the Knights. They will be moving left to right on your radio dial. 3 receivers to the right, tight end to the left. Groves sets Walker off to his right in the shotgun. Play action fake to Walker, looks to the middle. He's got number 1. Oh!
Broke up. Oh, legs hurt too.
It was number 1. Emmanuel Smith was the intended receiver.
He's down in the end zone. Looks like he's grabbing a knee or a leg at least.
Nice breakup by, I believe it was Andre Cliff was the one that knocked that down, and that was a great play by the Knights. If Grove got the ball out there a little farther, Rick, I think that would have been could have been trouble for the Knights, but Cliff had a chance to recover and knock the ball away.
Next week on Campus Nation and WZAA, we've got high school football. The Chillicothe Cavaliers visit the Washington Blue Lions, and that will be on 10:20. That game starts with our pregame at 6:30, and then on the other side of our network, we'll be at Alumni Field in Wilmington, Ohio, for the Western Brown Broncos visiting the Wilmington Hurricane. Also a 6:30 start on Campus Nation. Join us for both those great games on Campus Nation and WZAA 106.9 FM on the radio dial.
Hey, Rick, when you take a look at next week's game, isn't there some team that wears purple coming into Wilmington on that Saturday?
Right. Next week's game at Wilmington, the Mount Union Purple Raiders. That is a 1 o'clock start for our pregame with a 1:30 kickoff. And that's going to be an interesting game, to say the least, when you're talking the number 2 team in the country coming in to play the Wilmington Fighting Quakers.
12-time national champion Mount Union program. It's quite a machine, as they took care of what was supposed to be their big game last week with Heidelberg, dominating Heidelberg 63-7. So we're back to offense for Notre Dame. Notre Dame is in shotgun with Walker offset to his left, and it's a read play by Grove, and Grove gets the ball up to about the 25-yard line and no more, and that's where Notre Dame will be looking at a 2nd and 8.
Once again, they're not huddling, and they are up-tempo, so they're just taking a brief time to look over for some signals from the bench.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you do a look offense for the defense to really move around too much. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grove in the shotgun with Walker to his left. Grove drops, gets the ball out, and he's able to get out to Marvell Ross, the sophomore wide receiver. And Ross gets the ball up to the 18-yard line. Looks like his first down. So the Falcons move the chain, and they're starting to knock on the door here, Rick.
Wanting to tie this game up.
So 1 receiver to the right. We have trips to the left. Grove in the shotgun with Walker just behind him on the left. And another zone read to Walker, but Walker goes nowhere.
Not much.
Matter of fact, I don't even know that he got a yard on that, Rick. So we're probably looking at a 2nd and 10 situation. This would, if the Knights are able to stiffen here and keep this to a field goal, Rick, you have to consider that.
That would be a win, wouldn't it?
A win, right? 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Grove takes a quick drop. He looks to run the ball. He's dancing around the backfield.
Oh, see?
Just a host of Knights come pouring in, and that's, again, number 27, Mike Tolliver, the sophomore defensive end. That's his 2nd sack, 7 on the season.
Great defense.
And nice job by Tolliver. This defensive front for the Knights is formidable, Rick.
Really impressive.
3rd down and about 22 yards.
3rd and 22 for the Falcons. They're back now to the 30-yard line. Grove in the pistol looks it over. Now he's going to look to the sideline as the coaches are going to give them what they think will work best against the defense. Okay, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grove, and it's a stretch play to Walker. Walker's able to break it through the 20, up to the 15.
Brian Walker, the ball carrier.
Gets it back to a manageable third down now.
Right, picked up a lot of that
Actually, it's going to be
yardage lost.
Well, it is fourth down now, Rick, isn't it? When that was 3rd and 22, I think.
So it's going to be about a 4th and 8, it looks like.
Yeah, so it's going to be a field goal attempt. And Notre Dame's kicker.
Fourth down and about 8 yards to go.
Looks like
will attempt a
Tanner Harding, the redshirt freshman, will be attempting a 25-yard field goal with 4:52 to go in the first quarter. Kind of a low snap. The ball is up. Plenty of leg on that kick, and it is good. So the Notre Dame College Falcons get on the board with 4:45 to go in the first period, and that makes the score the Urbana Blue Knights 7 and Notre Dame 3. So as we talked about, Rick, that was what Urbana wanted in that situation after a turnover. They minimized the damage, only allowed 3 points, so they got to be pretty happy about how that turned out.
Yeah, you'd have to count it as a win.
But the Urbana defense really stiffened there and did a nice job. And you know the thing is, Rick, if you're able to produce tackles for losses and sacks and change the field on the offense where they're not looking at conventional situations, when they're looking at 2nd and long and 3rd and long, that creates a lot of problems for the offense, and it lets the defense just be a lot more creative with the situations as far as what kind of rush packages they can put together. So we've got back deep is Maurice Warren, I believe. Yes, it is. Maurice Warren Jr., the sophomore running back, is back deep to receive the kick from Tanner Harding of Notre Dame. And Harding gets ready to kick, boots the ball, and drives the ball down to about almost the 10-yard line. Warren is back up in the hole. He's up to the 30, out to the 35, and he's dragged down there. And that's where the Blue Knights will take over. Good return. Nice little return there, Rick. He was just an ankle tackle away from getting a lot bigger gain. So Warren showing his wares as not only just a running back, but came out as a kick returner there. And then we've got number 32 in the backfield. Javari Portis, a freshman, has 103 yards on the season. Short looks over, changes the play. 3 receivers are left, 1 to the right. Portis moves to his left side and looks it over. There's the snap. And it's a little zone read, and Portis is up to the 50. He's down to the 35, where he's dragged down at the 33-yard line.
Nice run.
Javari Portis, very similar to some of the runs we saw last week, Rick, with the battle of the running backs.
31-yard run.
So 31-yard gain for Javari Portis. And the Knights are knocking again. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Pistol formation. Portis moves off to the left. Short looks over the field, takes the snap, and why not? Give it to Portis, but not this time, and he's dragged down by number 55, Jalen Avant, for the Falcons.
So a 2-yard loss.
So 2nd and 12. No huddle here for the Knights. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Short moves, and we've got Maurice Warren back in the backfield to the right of Short. Short drops. He looks. A little wheel route.
That looked like interference.
Yeah.
Here's your flag.
Yeah. It looked like he was riding him down the field there, Rick.
Yes, he was going down the sideline. It looked like he wasn't like up on his shoulders or anything.
No, that was number 43, Sean Jones, the linebacker for Notre Dame. He had his arm hooked in there, and he wasn't going to let the Urbana receiver get away from him to get into a position to catch the football. So that's going to change things for the Knights. If it's interference, it'll be a first down. And we'll see where the officials will mark the ball here in a second. Uncatchable. Wow. I don't know, Rick.
So they picked up the flag. We see that a lot more often.
we saw quite a few times last week. They weren't quite sure what they were doing last week. Anyhow, we got two receivers to the left, one to the right. Short in a pistol formation, moves Warren off to his right, gets the snap, and play action fake. And nothing there, as there was a lot of heat on top of Short, even off the play action. Yeah, well covered by the Falcons.
So we got a flag?
Now it's a late flag. So we will sideline warning on Notre Dame. And, I would say they'd go for it here, or they're going to at least line up to run a play and do a pooch kick with the quarterback or something.
So do we think we're a little too far for a field goal?
Yeah, I don't know enough about they're going to punt now. So they're bringing out junior punter Brandon Perk, number 17. Oh, no, this is
a field goal.
Now this is a field goal. So now they've got, Perk is the holder.
Now they've called a timeout.
And this will be about a 40, this will be a 51-yard attempt, Rick. So we've seen some long-distance field goals. Last week we saw a 57-yarder attempted by the kicker from Miles College. And you usually don't see in Division III kickers that, line up and try the 45, 50-yard kicks, because usually those guys are wearing scarlet and gray or something like that, Although Urban would probably, he might debate whether he has had some of the better ones recently, but so the Knights take a timeout to talk this over. And, they might be talking about this. Of course, a short, when we saw this with Alabama and Auburn a few years ago, where the long field goal was short, and Auburn returned it for a touchdown and won the game. So I think maybe they wanted to remind them that if this kick doesn't go out of the end zone, they might want to make sure they cover this just like they would cover a kickoff.
A lot of Buckeye faithful were happy last night for Clemson's upset.
Congratulations to Dino Fabers, the former Bowling Green coach who led Syracuse to that 27-24 victory. A lot of upsets yesterday, Rick. So this is a 51-yard attempt for junior kicker Josh Cole of the Knights. And there is the snap and the kick. And he's got the leg, and now it's going to be, hits the bar. And a nice attempt by Cole. So had the leg. If it had been down the middle, I believe he would have got it, Rick. Had just enough to get it over there. So Notre Dame will take over with 3:24 to go in the first period. The Knights of Urbana lead 7-3 over to the Notre Dame College Falcons.
And once again, you're listening to CampusNation.com, the sports animal, your home for high school and college sports, and also WZAA 106.9 FM in Jeffersonville, Ohio.
And this is, of course, the Campus Nation Game of the Week. Game 7 of the season, Rick. It's hard to believe we're over halfway through. So Notre Dame comes out. Nehemiah Brown, number 2, the junior running back, had a couple nice runs. Is back in at running back. He moves to the left to Grove. And out Grove on a zone read. Gets the ball up to the 40-yard line, out to the 41. And that's where the ball will be marked. So
there's a flag.
And I think it's probably, in that area, it looks like it's probably a holding.
And that's what it is.
And it's holding on Notre Dame.
So that'll push him back.
So the Knights dodged the bullet on that one. That was a pretty nice run by Brown. So that's going to make it 2nd and 20. Maybe even.
Our score here, Urbana 7 and Notre Dame 3.
Yep. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Brown offset to the right of Grove. Grove drops, and it's a little screen play to Brown, but it didn't fool anybody, Rick, as the Knights were able to pull him down at the 20-yard line.
Had that sniffed out all the way.
A nice play by the Urbana defense. Urbana defense has stepped up big here a couple times in this first quarter. Okay. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. We've got a pistol formation.
2nd and 22 for Notre Dame.
Malik Grove, a senior quarterback here for Notre Dame College, looks over the sideline as the defense aligns itself. Grove sets Walker off to his left. And a nice rush. Ball is tipped, but Marvell Ross. And Ross is up to the 40, 45, 50, to the 40, to the 30, 20, 15, 5. Touchdown for the Notre Dame College Falcons. And that's Marvell Ross, the sophomore wide receiver. And a nice little play there, Rick. I think, Urbana brought the heat, and they actually even tipped the ball a little bit. But Ross kept his concentration on the football and was able to turn it into a huge gain there. And so we've seen 2 big pass plays go for money here.
So Notre Dame takes the lead 9-7. They're going to kick the point after, at least attempt it.
And Tanner Harding comes out to attempt the extra point for the Falcons. And there's the kick. And it is good, so that makes it 10 for the Notre Dame College Falcons and 7 for the Urbana Blue Knights with 2:03 to go in the first quarter. And it's been a pretty good first quarter, Rick, with the scoring. And
seen a little bit of everything.
Some good defensive action, some good special teams.
Got to give some credit to those fans from Notre Dame. Pretty good contingent coming from Euclid, Ohio, down here to see this game.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a trip from. You're going from the northeast to the southwest, so it's not a convention. Of course, in Ohio, not a big state, but there's a lot of long trips, and this would be one of those. Of course, speaking of Cleveland, Ohio, in a few weeks, we will be up in University Heights, Cleveland suburb, where we will be doing the Mountain Union Purple Raiders at the John Carroll Blue Streaks game.
And that promises to be one of the bigger games this year that we'll probably do.
It will probably be the biggest game we do. Of course, looking forward to seeing the Purple Raiders next week, and then 2 weeks later we'll get to see the Raiders again. Of course, we will also be out to Hocking College on the 28th of October, where we will see them play their rivals from North Carolina, Lewisburg College. So that promises to be an exciting game. And then we have a special Thursday night production of the game of the week when we travel to
back up to Tom Benson Stadium there.
Yep, and we will be there to watch the Malone Pioneers take on the Findlay Oilers, who...
And we now know how to open the windows there at Tom Benson. I don't know whether we'll want to, but at least we know we can get some fresh air.
Thanks to our camera girl, Lexi, who was playing around with the buttons and figured it out for us.
That's right.
Thank you, Lexi, for that. So number 20, Maurice Warren is back deep for the Blue Knights. Tanner Harding's kick. Drives it, not high kick down to the... he fumbles it. The ball's still loose. And Rick, I think Notre Dame may have come up with that.
And they signaled Notre Dame.
So Warren came up to... the ball kind of was like a knuckleball as it came down about the 11, 12-yard line. He couldn't quite judge it to get under it, and it came right down the front of him, hit his thigh, and rolled forward to about the 25-yard line, where there was a scramble on the ground, and the Notre Dame College Falcons came up with the football on the 27-yard line.
So another opportunity for the Falcons.
So we'll see if the Urbana defense is up to the challenge with 1:57 to go in the first period. Notre Dame will be moving left to right. They're in their white uniforms with their blue helmets. Urbana dressed in their black jerseys with blue and white trim numbers, silver helmets, and gray pants. And Malik Grove, the senior quarterback for Notre Dame, adjusts his receivers as 3 to the right. He moves his back Walker to the left. Gives the ball off to Walker on a delay cutback, and he squirts up to about the 19-yard line. So a nice pickup of 8 yards on first down. And boy, this tough situation for the Knights, Rick, is second and short is something no defensive coordinator wants to see.
Once again, quickly back up to the line, ready for the next play.
Motion from left to right. They give it to Walker again on the same play, and not this time, as the Knights are up to the challenge, actually drops them for a couple-yard loss back to the 21-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and about 5, Rick. So the clock says 3rd and 4, so we'll go with that. Time ticking away here in the first quarter. 10-7. The Notre Dame College Falcons over the Urbana Blue Knights.
But they are driving again.
3 receivers to the right. Grove in the pistol gives the ball to Walker on an outside zone play, and he's able to get the ball up to the 15-yard line, which will be good for a Falcon first down. And that play has hurt Urbana a couple times, Rick. They run a little outside stretch, and Walker's been able to get around the corner. We've got twins to the left, twins to the right. Grove, a little quick screen.
That's going to be incomplete.
That was a forward pass, but very close, because that was really heads up on Urbana's.
Oh, they had it smelled out all the way.
Yeah, and if that had been a backward pass, the Knights were off and running for another touchdown on that. Well played by the Urbana defense. So we've got Notre Dame lines up quickly again. They're on the line. Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Grove with Walker offset to his left. A little zone read play. Grove keeps the ball. He's up to the 10 and down to the 5-yard line. And that's another first down, I think, Rick.
It looks like it.
So it should be first and goal from the 5-yard line for the Falcon. Now they're going to say it's a little short.
Looks like maybe.
So they're going to rule. I guess his knee probably touched. Looks like about the 7. So it's going to be 3rd and 1.
We got a timeout?
And it looks like it's timeout by Notre Dame. And I think it's probably a good timeout, because you don't want to make a mistake in this situation. You want to make sure you capitalize and get 7 points. And that is going to be the end of the first period, with the Notre Dame College Falcons 10 and the Urbana Blue Knights 7 at the end of the first quarter. And Rick, we're going to take a little break here.
Yeah, we'll take a little break. Remind everybody that starting, I would say, in fact, probably already underway is our game, at least our pregame in Wilmington. And we've got the Marietta Pioneers in to play the Fighting Quakers. The pregame should be started underway. We've got Alan King and Chris Wisecup there in Wilmington doing that game for us. And
so we got the Cup out there doing the game.
That's right. The Cup is doing the game. So we're going to break here just for a minute here.
Hollow Ride brings the Clinton County Fields alive. Every Friday and Saturday night now through October 28th, experience the fire-breathing ceremonies. Come aboard the sawdust school buses for a haunted ride you'll never forget. Terror in the Court, Slaughter Hotel, and the all-new Evil Asylum will chill you to the bone. Wilmington Haunted Hollow Ride, 1261 West Dalton. For more information and directions, go to WilmingtonHauntedHollowRide.com.
All right, we are back.
So we get ready to start the second period. Notre Dame College 10, the Urbana Blue Knights 7, and we've got some first period stats here, so we'll take a look at those real quick. In terms of first downs, Notre Dame has 5 and Urbana has 4, and we will get back to that as the Notre Dame offense is faced with a 3rd and 1. Important for both teams here. Another touchdown would give them that 10-point lead and opens some possibilities up for them offensively.
We got a motion.
And we've got a motion penalty, and I think that this may cost Notre Dame, it appears.
A little too anxious.
Yep. And so, could, no, I guess.
Encroachment?
No, I guess they said they weren't ready.
Oh.
So the officials taking control of the game there. So we've got 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Motion left to right. They give it to Walker. Walker's up to, he's got the first down.
Flags.
Now, this will be interesting to see what this is. Walker has the first down as he moved the ball up beyond the 3-yard line, but it looks like it might be coming back.
Unless there's something like maybe grabbing
face
a face mask, something like
possibly.
that. Right there. There it is, face mask.
So,
halfway to the goal?
Halfway to the goal, so that's going to probably put it about the 1.5-yard line there.
So it will be a first down for
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
And the Falcons are in business again with first and goal from the 1. Brian Walker lines up to the left of Malik Grove. And, that's, wow, too many people on the field there. Yeah, I think.
So we got a timeout?
They called a timeout. Probably wise on Notre Dame's behalf, because it didn't look like they were quite sure what personnel were supposed to be on the field. So timeout by Notre Dame. They didn't want to take the chance, get a penalty, or get a play for a loss, which would put them in a worse situation than they want to be.
All right, we'll take a break here.
So we'll
The
take a
final
break.
resting place, Haunted Junkyard, is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Their hours of operation are 8 p.m. till midnight every Friday and Saturday from now until October 28th. Prepare for torment from freaks of nature like Pig Boy, Patient 5150, Dr. Nightmare, and Buffalo. New in 2017 is a second attraction, Lights Out. For more information, you can contact the Final Resting Place at 937-728-6190, thefinalrestingplace.com, or their Facebook page.
All right, we're back in Urbana, Ohio.
And a quick look at the stats for the first quarter. Notre Dame College had 142 yards in the first half to 130, or first quarter to 134 for Urbana, Rick. So, and that's the way the game went too. It was pretty evenly matched there. As far as Notre Dame, Brian Walker was their leading rusher with 29 yards. Javari Portis for the Blue Knights had 30 yards, again pretty close, as far in terms of that. Malik Grove, 5 of 9 for 106 yards and a 78-yard touchdown. He was sacked twice. Chance Short, 3 of 8 for 94 yards and an 81-yard touchdown. So 2 big plays there. Receiving-wise, Marvell Ross, 2 catches for 86 yards and a 78-yard touchdown. And Rodell Rockman, 1 catch for 81 yards and 1 touchdown. Grove gets the ball, gives it off to Walker. And Walker is in for the touchdown. And Notre Dame moves it out to 16-7 with 14:32 to go in the second quarter. So,
Probably the biggest difference in the game thus far, Bill, would be maybe some mistakes.
Yeah, I would agree. And that interception, which led to the field goal for Notre Dame, kind of changed the momentum, because at that point it appeared that the Blue Knights were in command. And since that point, it's kind of switched back to a Notre Dame momentum swing. And Tanner Harding with the kick. And it is good, so that pushes the score out to 17-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons over the Urbana Blue Knights. We are here at Urbana University Stadium, a beautiful new field here, and we hope to create a long-lasting relationship here with the Blue Knights, as they're right in our backyard here, Rick.
So to speak, yes, they are.
Yep, and we will continue to follow them. Of course, we are going to be doing some Game of the Week basketball here as soon as we get that schedule set up. Hopefully by the end of football season, we can have something that we can announce on the air.
I would hope that we would have our basketball upcoming season. Both, we know we're going to be following the Wilmington Quakers, so we'll have men's and women's basketball from Wilmington. But also, we'd like to do our Game of the Week extension from football to basketball and cover some great Ohio basketball teams.
Yeah, we'll be, maybe not as, we won't be globe-trotting as much during basketball as football.
We'll keep it more in the Columbus, Dayton, and Cincinnati area.
Right.
And by the very nature, it's kind of hard to globetrot, when you have to worry about weather and other factors.
Right.
Especially if you're talking games through the week and trying to get, because everybody at Campus Nation and WZAA sort of works a double shift.
Right.
You got a regular thing that you do, and then you've got the stuff that we do.
Yeah, the stuff that we do, right. And of course, if you are interested in reaching out, if you have an interest in working a camera, doing play-by-play, color, if you have some talent, Rick, where can they reach you at?
Just give me a call at 937-527-6674. That is my personal cell phone number. Give us a call, and we would be happy to hook you up.
Like, we've got plenty of programming coming up. We've got all sorts of good stuff on, of course, Campus Nation and WZAA 106.9. If you're local in the area, you can get on the live radio there. We've got Charlie Hargrave in the morning, keeping everybody stirred up. So we got Tanner Harding kicking off for the Notre Dame Falcons. Drives the ball down to the 2-yard line, where Maurice Warren Jr. gets the ball up to about the 20, where he's met.
Hello.
And I mean met by number 39 for Notre Dame. We will try to get his number. That young man stood up Warren What a nice pop. Number 39 is Denai Morris, the linebacker, freshman out of Lima, Ohio. And denied him right there. I know, it was bad, but I had to go there, Rick. Had to go there. So, Urbana is back on offense, led by the sophomore Chance Short. Chance moves his running back to his left. He's got one receiver to the left, two to the right. He drops, he looks, and he loses the handle on it, and they're going to call out the old tuck rule there.
Right.
Fortunately for the Blue Knights, the ball came out of short drop back to pass, and as he went to release, he changed his mind, and as he tried to come down with it, it slipped out of his hand. Of course, it was an incomplete pass, fortunately for the Blue Knights. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. 3 receivers go to the left, 1 to the right. Warren is in the pistol formation, and he calls for the ball. And Warren takes it. He's up the middle. He's up to the 30, 35. He's up to the 40, 45, out to about the 46-yard line.
Great run.
And a nice run out of the pistol formation. He gave a little drop step to his left and let the line blocking develop, cut back to his right, and was able to pop it through for about 26 yards there, Rick. And that's the best offensive play in quite a while here for the Blue Knights. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Warren moves off to the right. Short calls for the ball. Takes a drop. Play action fake.
Intercepted?
And picked off number 3 for Jeff Thomas, the redshirt freshman. That's his 2nd interception of the year, Rick. And
that ball was underthrown.
Yeah, what a bad break for the Urbana offense as they started to get something going there. And so Notre Dame will take over in their own territory at the 46-yard line, 13:50 to go in the second quarter, as the Falcons have a 17-7 lead and some good field position. So unfortunately for the Knights, they turned the ball over again on another interception, Rick. And when you have a young quarterback, that's going to happen.
Right, you have to expect some of that.
So 3 receivers to the right. Walker moves off to the right of Grove. Grove is under a little pressure. He's looking. He's out. He's rolling to his right. And are they going to rule that in?
Out of bounds.
Yeah, I thought it was a great effort. Marcus Hood, the receiver. It was a great effort there, Rick. He just couldn't drag his feet and keep him in bounds there. So 2nd and 10 for the Falcons from the 46-yard line.
Bill, looks like we've got the best vantage point here. We're right where the food's going to be.
And that's always a good thing here. We've got 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grove has Walker in the pistol right now. They get a little shuffle motion from left to right and give it to Walker on a reverse pivot. And Walker's able to get up to the 50, over the 50, down to almost the 48-yard line of the Urbana Blue Knights.
Sort of bounced off his own player there and had some daylight.
Yeah, he did. Kind of looked like a pinball there for those who understand what pinball is.
No one in college right now.
I was going to say I might date myself there a little bit. 3 receivers to the right, trips formation, 1 to the left. Grove looks over to the sideline to get the call. Walker in the pistol. Again, what we've seen here is after they get the call from the sideline, they usually adjust the back to the side, and as always, Walker moves off to the right. Grove gets the snap, and a little fake to Walker. He's up and squirts up to the 40-yard line, which will be good for a first down. So Grove took the ball, a little play action, or a little fake to Walker, and just followed Walker right up the hole and was able to pick up 10, 11 yards. And that's going to make it 1st and 10 from the Knights' 40-yard line.
Once again, the Falcons are moving.
Falcons have 3 to the left. They motion left to right. And they give the ball to Walker again, and Walker moves the ball up to about the 35-yard line. And it's going to be a 2nd and 5. And the Knights are getting a little tired being on defense.
Yeah.
They're getting worn down. They haven't had a lot of opportunity to get off that side of the ball too much. And I think they're going to have to go on a long offensive drive, Rick, if they're going to give their defense a chance to recover and get back into this game. 3 receivers to the left, tight end to the right. Walker moves to the left of Grove. A little zone. And a little play-action fake, and he hits number 24 in stride. And that
perfect pass.
And Marcus Hood, the sophomore wide receiver, a little play-action. They ran what looked to be like a stretch play. He pulled the ball out of Walker's belly and hit Hood right in the middle of the field for the touchdown. So that moves the score out to 23-7. And just like that, Rick, the game that was pretty tight is starting to, widen out a little bit. 11:48 to go here in the second quarter. Harding in for his third extra point attempt. And there's Harding's kick. And with a strong leg, he drives it through, so that makes it 24-7 in favor of the Notre Dame Falcons over the Urbana Blue Knights. So regrouping time here for the Blue Knights as they'll talk it over. Rick, it's just really a shame because I don't think the defense has really played that poorly that represents a 24-point first half, but
just been a few mistakes and a few key plays. This game could be completely different.
Yeah, some turnovers and really bad spots of the field, which gave Notre Dame a short porch to work with. And, from there, they're able to capitalize, get points off of both turnovers. And, that's what you look at. If you turn the ball over and your opponent's scoring, that's hard to beat that because, you take that away and it would be 14-7 and they're within a touchdown instead of being down by 3 scores here. So we will jump back to the stats here, see what we've got in the first quarter, taking a look at tackles for Notre Dame. You've got R.J. Goodwin had 2 tackles on the TFL. Xavier McDowell, 2 tackles. For Urbana, Dure Hall had 6 tackles and half a TFL. Josh Dillard had 3 tackles and got the other half of the TFL. And Maurice Warren had 3 kick returns for 53 yards. So that is the highlights of the first quarter. And we will get ready for the Knights to receive. And going back deep is Maurice Warren Jr. And he'll be receiving the kick from Tanner Harding, who's getting a little bit of a workout here, Rick. You see your kicker out here too many times, and he's your place kicker and the man that handles the kickoff duties. That's not a good thing. So Harding measures up his position on the field as he gets ready to approach the ball. And there's the kick. And a strong leg as he drives the ball 3 yards deep in the end zone.
Gonna bring it out.
And Warren brings it out, and he's got a little bit of a wedge out to the 20, 25, up to the 30, out to the 36-yard line, but there's a flag, and it's probably a block in the back there, Rick.
Right. A little clipping going on there somewhere.
Yeah. A nice return by Warren. Took the ball 3 yards deep in the end zone and brought it out. But it looks like it's coming back, and wasted return there.
So as you surmised, a block in the back, and the ball will go back towards the goal line.
Yep.
Kind of wipes out a real nice run.
Yep. So, Rick, there's a bunch of big games today. Michigan was playing Indiana as I left. It was 3-0 in favor of the Wolverines. They've struggled on offense here recently, and I don't know what Jim Harbaugh is going to do with the Wolverines after they dropped their first game of the year to Michigan State last week.
Yeah, Michigan State really hasn't been that great a team this year.
They're better than they were, but they are still maybe they're forming their character, and the Spartans are making comeback. And there is a zone read, and I believe it's Maurice Warren Jr. who gets the ball out to about the 8-yard line for the Knights. So it's going to be about It looks like about 2nd and 8. Knights will have 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Warren offsets to the right. Oh, no, actually, Warren is in the pistol again. And gets a little zone read as he gives it to, I think that's Portis. Javari Portis, number 32, the freshman running back who looked pretty impressive on a few carries in the first quarter, is back in. And just a different look there, probably trying to take the ball out of Chance Short's hands a little bit, as he may be a little bit shaken after a couple turnovers here in the first half. 3 receivers to the right. Short back at quarterback. Warren moves to the left. And there's the drop, short drop, and a little fade up the sideline. Oh!
Just couldn't hang on.
Wow. Nice adjustment on the ball.
It'll be 4th and 5.
He juggled a little bit there, Rick, and well, he was very close to bringing that down. So it'll be punting time again as Brandon Perk comes out, the punt. And the Knights are on their own 11-yard line, so they're back to the wall here, Rick. There's the snap. There's the kick. Oh, he turns the ball over. It's coming down like a missile. And Marvell Ross is up to the 50, 45, 40, 35. Nice little return by Marvell Ross.
Down to the 35-yard line. Flag is down on the play.
So flag.
And this usually indicates a hold or block in the back in most cases, so we'll see. No, well, the other option, the personal foul. Okay. So that will be personal foul on the Falcons, which will help the Blue Knights as the ball moves back to about the 50-yard line where Notre Dame will take over. But this is a crucial stance for the Blue Knight defense, Rick, because they're going to have to get a turnover, or they just can't allow them to put points on the board on this drive. So Notre Dame comes out at the 50-yard line. Malik Grove, quarterback. Brian Walker off to his left. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Motion left to right. He gives the ball to Walker. He's up to the 45, dives forward to the 39, and that'll be a first down for Notre Dame, and they're starting to gash him, Rick. Knights are tired up front. They've been seeing this Falcon attack. There's a left to right motion. Give to Walker again, and he's up to about the 38-yard line.
Clayton Bullard on the tackle for Blue Knights.
So Brian Walker been pretty impressive here as he wedges the ball forward. 1 receiver to left, 3 to the right. Grove looks over to the sideline, get the call, and they give him the go-ahead, so they line up again, 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Walker off to his right, gives the ball to Walker to the left. He's up to the 40, 35, 30, and is dragged just tripped up at the 26-yard line. And Brian Walker's getting some gaping holes to run through right now, Rick. With 9:22 to go in the second quarter, 24-7 in favor of the Notre Dame Falcons.
6-yard line.
Grove has a fresh running back in there, Nehemiah Brown, junior running back. His 2 receivers to the right. Gives the ball to Brown. Brown's off tackle to the right and gets the ball forward to about the 23, couple-yard gain. So we'll be looking at a 2nd and 7.
It's like a little snow in Denver here.
Holy moly.
That's a soccer game.
Well, I'm glad I'm not at the soccer game, and I'm glad I'm not in the snow. So that's 2 reasons why I'm glad I'm not in Denver. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Pistol formation. Give to Brown. Brown's off to the right side. Not much doing there as the Knights are able to pull him down for little or no gain. So it's going to be 3rd and 7. I would think we might see some kind of zone read here, Rick, where give Grove an option to keep the ball on this. It's definitely 4-down territory, and we know that they will line up and take a shot on a long field goal, as their kicker has a very good leg. So Grove looks to the sideline as the Notre Dame staff looks over to defense, gives them Grove to play. Grove has Brown to his right. He takes 3-step drop, looks to the middle of the field. Wide open. Wide open at the 3-yard line.
No coverage.
Catches it, and they split the zone right up the middle, Rick, and Ross walks in with the touchdown, and that pushes the score out to 30-7 with 7:36 to go in the second period. And Tanner Harding will be back out to try another extra point. So the Knights are going to have to get an offensive drive together to get their defense off the field, Rick.
Definitely going to have to collect things here in this last part of the first half.
Yeah. So Tanner Harding gets ready to attempt his extra point. The kick is up. It's good. And it is good, so that pushes the score out to 31-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons of Euclid, Ohio. And so second quarter, and some tired defenders there for the Knights come off the field, and they need to get a good kick return, Rick. They need to
control the ball for a while.
They need to
give a blow to their defense.
Need to get 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes off this clock would look real nice to the defensive team, because they played pretty well.
Charlie's wife and her buddies.
Did you ever see the movie Willard or Ben?
Yeah, I think they're both.
Is that their names, Willard and Ben?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
But
so do we have any report over from Wilmington yet?
No, and they should be just getting underway. It's homecoming in Wilmington, Ohio for Wilmington College, and so we hopefully will get some update here as far as a score. Of course, both those teams are 2-3, I believe.
Yeah, and
so it could be anybody's game.
And I think, at the beginning of the year, I looked at Marietta as one of the ones that the Quakers could get. And so I think that's a possibility for a third win. And I think there's maybe a couple
Muskingum?
more. Yeah, Muskingum could be a win. So there might be a couple more wins down the road there for the Quakers. And there's a kick by Harding, a little bit shorter this time, only down to the 5-yard line where Warren gets the ball up to the 20, 25, bounces out, up to about the 30-yard line.
Well, there's definitely a new level of excitement in Quakerland, and Brian was on our East Clinton game last night at halftime. And he has been gracious. He was on our Wilmington game, which is posted on Campus Nation. He was at halftime on our Wilmington game. He's been showing up a lot as far as with a lot of our broadcasts. And, of course, he's on our sports show on Thursday night from Damon's. We have East Clinton and Wilmington Wilmington College on there. But the relationship at Wilmington College continues to get better and better with each passing week.
Yeah, I like that. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Maurice Warren Jr. lines up to the left of Clarence Short. Short gives the ball to Warren, and Warren's able to squirt forward for a 2-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 8 from the 29-yard line.
It'll be 2nd and 8 ball.
They come out 2 by 2 again. Short this time has Warren to his right. They look it over, identifying who the Mike linebacker is, who's got who as the line talks, and then Warren moves over to the left. Little option play to Warren. Warren's up to about the 31-yard line. Another pickup of 2, so we're looking at about 3rd and 6 here, Rick. And with this situation, at least they're working the clock a little bit. They're keeping it on the ground. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 is not a horrible situation, not one you always want to be in, but this is a makeable situation. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Warren off to the left.
That'll be a pass.
And Short throws. Short gets hit as he goes down, and he's pressured by number 42, Isaiah Turner, number 52, I'm sorry, that would be... We'll find him here in a second. Number 52, Harrison Roberts, who is a promising freshman there, has got 9 tackles, 2 TFLs, and 1.5 sacks on the season. Brandon Perk.
Some movement.
The penalty will move the football back to about the 26-yard line, where it'll be 4th and 12.
So 4th and 12 for the Knights here. 6:15 to go in the second quarter. 31-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons. Marvell Ross and Brian Walker deep for the Falcons. And there's the kick by Perk. Perk gets a wobbly kick down to the 45, takes a Knights bounce as it rolls down to about the 24-yard line. And Notre Dame takes over on their own 24, moving right to left on your radio dial. 6:01 to go in the game, 31-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons. And the Knights need to get something. They need to get a turnover. They need to get a fumble recovery, something that would be equivalent to
spark.
Something that like Notre Dame did to them in the first half. They need to get something here before the half's over to try to get some points.
Right. It would be nice if they could go in at the half with maybe an additional score of some type, so that they've got the momentum turned their way again.
We'll say one thing, that the Notre Dame offensive line, their left guard is massive, number 79, Brandon Nicholson, a redshirt freshman. They do have some big linemen there. And Grove gives the ball off to Walker. Walker's up to the 35, up to the 40, 45, dragged down as he gets into Knight territory at the 48-yard line.
He was like that proverbial bull in a china shop. He just bowled everybody over and right up.
Looked like the human bowling ball there as he shot through. And so now we've got 2 backs in the backfield to Grove. Walker off to his left.
First down, Falcons ball to the 48-yard line.
Number 87, Connor Henry, split to the left. Marvell Ross split to the right. Short has a back to his right. Walker is a little bit deeper off to his left. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's Nehemiah Brown. And Grove keeps it, works the ball up to 45, runs out at the 43-yard line, where he'll pick up about 5 yards, and we'll make it 2nd and 5 from the 43. So Notre Dame's marching again here. So they're not the Golden Domers, but they're looking a lot like it right now, right?
Certainly.
3 to the right, 1 to the left. Grove in the shotgun. Nehemiah Brown steps up, and Grove goes deep again for Marvell Ross.
See, had he hit him, it would have been another TD. He was just absolutely wide open.
Yeah, Ross they have a mismatch with Ross over on their Urbana's defensive left. They've got to address that. And where is the safety in the middle of the field, too, which is, that's a problem because the seam has been open several times today. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grove in the pistol formation. Grove looks over the sideline, gets the adjusted call, and says something to Brown, who's in the pistol behind him. Grove takes the snap. A little boot fake to Brown. He looks back, he scrambles, he's up to the 40, dives forward to the 35-yard line, which will be good for a first down for the Falcons. And they just continue to move the chains, Rick.
Our Travis O'Connor last night at the Miami Trace game, he's a big Notre Dame fan. The Irish.
Yeah,
I tried to tell him. I said, "Hey, we've got Notre Dame tomorrow. You want to come up and help us with the game?" Well, he didn't respond. I think he already had seen our schedule.
Yes. So Brown squirts forward to about the 32-yard line, a pickup of 4, and it will be 2nd and 6. Yeah. Well, does Notre Dame University still have a football team?
I don't think they're not on suspension or anything.
No, they haven't been relevant here for a few years. Oh, well, we'll have good fun with them at this point. Of course, I'm sure the Golden Domers will be back at some time in the future.
Point, yeah, that's right.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Actually, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They motion right to left in a little shuffle motion. They give the ball to Brown, and he follows the motion man, but lost of 1, so it's going to be about 3rd and 6 now.
Maybe they're looking at picking up Lou Fickle, in a few years.
It could be. If Luke has a good run there at Cincinnati,
Well, Luke would be the first choice, I'm sure. They like Cincinnati for some reason.
They do. That is a fact. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Malik Grove in the pistol with Nehemiah Brown. And gets his call from the sideline. He adjusts Brown to the left. And looks like we have a whistle timeout by Urbana. And Coach Haynes probably said, okay, we need to give these guys a little bit of a break. Let's get some adjustments so that we can slow this down. And, we don't want to be down by 30 going into the second half. So with 3:41 to go in the second quarter, it is 31-7 in favor of the Notre Dame Falcons.
We got a scoring update. The Marietta Pioneers take the first lead, 7-0 over the Wilmington Fighting Quakers there, and in Wilmington, Ohio. Next week we've got the Chillicothe Cavaliers on one of our games, going against the Washington Blue Lions. Of course, we featured Chillicothe against Miami Trace last night. Next week it'll be Chillicothe against the Washington Blue Lions, and then Western Brown, the Broncos, come in to play the Wilmington Hurricane also this coming Friday. Both games start with our pregame at 6:30 and the kickoff at 7 o'clock. And then next week also we've got the Mount Union Purple Raiders into the Wilmington Fighting Quakers field to take them on, and that ought to be a really interesting game. They are ranked number 2 in the country right now.
Why, I don't know, but in my opinion, they're the number 1 team, but I haven't seen much of Marion Hardin Baylor, who's the number 1 team yet. So I imagine about 5-6 weeks from now, we may see those 2 teams colliding. Mount Union ain't good, Rick.
I heard that they might be, so-so.
They might be all right.
Okay.
2 to the right, 2 to the left. Brown adjusts over to the left side of Grove. Grove takes a short drop. He's under pressure. He spins.
Flag.
And
must have grabbed a face mask.
Dragged down by a host of Knights, led by number 91 senior defensive tackle Clayton Bullard. And got an
so it must have been a hold.
Yes.
So Urbana declines the holding penalty. That'll bring up
4th down.
A 4th down.
So I mean, there's probably no reason to try a field goal here with a 24-point lead with
3.5 minutes to go in this first half of play. So Urbana hoping to get this ball back and put some points on the board. Maybe give them an opportunity for some momentum change here just before the half.
Freshman punter Anton Verbeck, and he
pooch
tries a little coffin corner kick, and it looks like he's pretty successful on that. As he drives the ball out, they're going to mark it at about the 10-yard line.
Not bad.
So Verbeck gets a nice little coffin corner, kind of a lost art, Rick. I mean, we don't see that a lot anymore. But now it's to kick the ball as high as you can, get good, fast cover people, and get under it. But that's a skill. If you can kick it out, you can angle those kicks. That's a definite attribute that coaches like to see in their punters. So Urbana is back on offense. Again, their back is pinned to the goal line. Okay, Short aligns Warren to his left, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Short takes the snap, a little zone read. He keeps it and gets the ball up a couple yards. First time we've really seen him take the ball on the zone read and attack it like that.
Gain of 2 on the play. It'll be
So 2nd and 8. Short gets the call from the sideline. He's going to put 3 receivers to the left, lines 1 to the right. It's been kind of a quiet day for Trevon Saunders, the record-setting wide receiver for the Knights. Warren is set to the right of Warren. Play action fake to Warren. Oh,
sacked.
And number 52.
Gonna be a loss.
Yes. So number 52, Harrison Roberts, picks up the sack, and Roberts is only a freshman, and that's
pretty impressive.
Good-looking kid.
Moves the ball back to the 9-yard line.
He's got long arms, good motor, makes him a tough kid to block with those long arms. 1:52 to go in the second quarter, 31-7 in favor of Notre Dame. Short aligns Warren to his left, 3 receivers to the left, a little play act, a zone play to Warren, and Warren is able to get the ball out near a first down. I think they're going to mark it as a first down, Rick. So he gets it out to the 21. First down for the Knights. And that stops the clock with 1:30. Now the chains are marked and the clock is rolling again. 1:26 to go in the second quarter. And it'd be nice to see the Knights get something on the board here. Short takes a drop. He looks. He's under pressure, but Saunders got it. Oh, it's at the 40, down to the 35, to the 34.
Great touch pass there.
And Short he was under pressure, Rick, but he gets the ball out to Trevon Saunders. And we talked about it's been kind of a quiet game for Saunders, but just like that, he puts them in scoring territory with 1:13 to go in the first half.
Probably heard your comments, Bill.
Maybe they were listening there. So he looks at Saunders, 3 receivers left, Saunders to the right, Warren in the backfield, and he's and tipped, just pasted by number 55, Jalen Avant, as Chance Short just got shillelied there.
Is that what that is? Shillelagh?
Yeah, I used and pulled out some kind of Irish term there on that one, I think. Notre Dame, Irish.
I was thinking of that.
3 to the left, 2 to the right.
I think you're in the wrong pew there.
Short moves Warren to his right. He gets the snap, takes a drop. There's pressure, but he has time. Oh!
That was like it stuck to his hand there.
It was a little bit of a worm burner there as the release point and the ball dropped too low for Warren to handle as it was just a little popover route. So Short looks over the sideline, 3rd and 10, 54 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
Absolute perfect day for football.
Oh, beautiful day, about 60 degrees, 65 degrees, and sunny. 2 receivers to right, 2 to the left. Short in the shotgun, brings motion from right to left. Short drops, he looks, there's pressure again. He gets the ball off, and it's to Saunders, and Saunders is able to pick up about 7 yards of the 10 they needed. So they've got a decision here, Rick.
He was looking left, and he went straight up the field. I think that was sort of like the play before that sort of got ground into the ground there.
Yeah, and it was nice patience because it takes a while to develop as Saunders worked his way just behind the line of scrimmage, and Short, he's got hit a couple times there, Rick. I got to give him a lot of credit for having the patience to hang in there.
So we have 47.8 seconds remaining in this first half of play. Notre Dame 31, Urbana 7. Urbana is driving. Like to pick up something before the half ends. Turn the momentum a little their way going into this halftime.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I think you got to go for 7 here. A field goal kind of puts a Band-Aid on the wound, but the wound is pretty big right now with a 24-point margin. But then some coaches will look at it as you want to get that momentum, and but it's still 4th and 5. So 3 receivers to the left.
4th and 5. Looks like they're going for it.
From the 29-yard line of the Falcons. Short has motion right to left. A jet sweep. Gets the ball out. And, he reaches the ball out, Rick. We'll see.
Going to be close. Timeout.
Yeah, and I don't know about that. I think that was not a generous spot because as Hooks was going down, he reached the ball out. It appeared to me that he got the ball to where it had to go. But they're saying he was down before he reached the ball out. So
the ball has been turned over on downs?
Yeah, on downs. So Notre Dame takes over the ball at the 32-yard line. And I don't know, Rick. Probably run the ball. They'll probably run a play to see what they get. And if they pick up some significant yardage here, then they'll start thinking about maybe they can get down to field goal range. Of course, the way they've had their wide receivers open, and now it appears they're going to put Marvell Ross back as a safety in their victory formation. And
takes a knee.
Takes a knee, and that will probably put a cap on the first half here, as the ball clock will not start here until the ball's marked, and both teams are making their way to the locker room. So 31-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons from Euclid, Ohio, over the Urbana Blue Knights. And
so we're at halftime, Bill, and they've got our food behind us. I guess each booth must have their own little food, or do you think that's for everybody?
Well, I don't know. If it's for us, we'll be back in 20 minutes. So, yeah, good. Again, this is our first go here with Game of the Week at Urbana University. Beautiful facility here. And so we'll get some stats here in a minute, and we'll be able to get you guys caught up on halftime statistics.
Once again, in our game from Wilmington, Ohio, Wilmington down to Marietta by 7 to nothing in that first quarter of play.
Our thanks to Derek Blyberg, who's the SID here at Urbana, for setting this all up for us. Derek did a great job. Our thanks for getting us in here to have the opportunity to broadcast the Blue Knights game.
Here are the stats.
Okay, and let's take a look at the first half stats. So, first down-wise, Notre Dame College, 14 first downs to Urbana's 7. Rushing, Notre Dame has 31 attempts for 122 yards. Urbana has 14 attempts for 88. Passing yards, 165 for Notre Dame and 144 for Urbana. Notre Dame is 7 of 13 in the first half, and Urbana is 5 of 16, but has 2 interceptions. Total offense, Notre Dame has 287 yards in the first half to 232 for Urbana. Notre Dame has 1 punt return for 20 yards. Urbana has 6 kickoff returns for 129. That's not good when you have 6 kickoff returns, Rick, in the first half. Punting-wise, Notre Dame has 3 punts for 37.7 yards, and Urbana 3 punts for 49 yards. Fumbles lost, Urbana has 1 fumble and lost it. Penalty-wise, it's been a relatively clean game. Notre Dame has 3 penalties for 30 yards, and Urbana 3 for 35. Time of possession is 19:06 for Notre Dame and 10:54 for Urbana. So that, as we talked about, that's a 2-to-1 ratio on the amount of time that Notre Dame's had the ball.
Right. Defenses had to be on the field, and they've gotten worn down.
And third down conversions, Notre Dame is 6 of 10. Urbana is 1 of 6. Fourth down conversions, Urbana is 0 for 1. And red zone scoring chances, Notre Dame is 2 for 2. Individual statistics for Notre Dame. Brian Walker has 15 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. Malik Grove has 9 carries for 24 yards. For Urbana, Javari Portis, 4 carries for 61 yards. Maurice Warren, 7 carries for 30 yards. Passing-wise, Malik Grove, 7 of 13 for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns. One going for 78. He's been sacked 3 times. Chance Short, 5 of 16 with 2 interceptions, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, which went 81 yards, and he's been sacked 1 time. Receiving-wise for Notre Dame, Marvell Ross, 3 catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Marvell Ross has been a thorn in Urbana's side, Rick, in this first half. Trevon Saunders for the Knights, 3 catches, 56 yards. Rodell Rockman, 1 catch for 81 yards, which was the opening play of the game, and a touchdown. And then punting-wise, Anton Verbeek, 3 kicks for 113 yards, a 37.7 yard average. For Urbana, Brandon Pert, 3 kicks, 147 yards for a 49-yard average. Marvell Ross has 1 punt return for Notre Dame for 20 yards. Maurice Warren has 6 kickoff returns for 129 yards for Urbana. In terms of defense, leading the way for Notre Dame is R.J. Goodwin with 4 tackles and 1 TFL. And for Urbana, Duray Hall has 10 tackles and 1 TFL. Isaiah Turner has 5 with half a sack and half a TFL. Mike Tolliver, 4 total tackles, but he has 2 sacks and 2 TFLs. So Mike has played really well here for the Blue Knights. So that brings us to the score of 31-7 at halftime, with Notre Dame College leading the Urbana Blue Knights. And Rick,
we'll take a little break here, and we will be back shortly. You're listening to CampusNation.com, the sports animal, your home for high school and college sports, and WZAA 106.9 FM out of Jeffersonville, Ohio.
WZAA LP, Jeffersonville.
And we are live. We're live from Urbana, Ohio. We've got the Notre Dame team coming into play, the Urbana team. These are the Notre Dame Falcons against the Urbana Blue Knights. And we've got Bill Ray back here doing our play-by-play. I'll be adding whatever I can in the way of color. I'm going to be taking care of the camera, and we'll be live here in about 30 minutes with the start of this game.
Very good. Well, I'm Bill the Razor Rayback, and of course this is Campus Nation's Game of the Week.
As well as WZAA. We're live.
Oh, okay, we are on WZAA. I didn't know that we were going to be on ZAA today, so that's...
Yeah, we switched off ZAA from the Wilmington game to this game, and Wilmington will probably play later on our broadcast.
On a delayed basis.
Since they're starting in another hour anyway.
Okay, so we're here in Urbana at the beautiful new stadium of the Knights, and you've got the 5-1 Notre Dame College Falcons from Euclid, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, playing the Urbana Blue Knights. And Rick, this is a Mountain East Conference game. Both teams participate in primarily a West Virginian conference. And, you know, as I say, Notre Dame comes in with a 5-1 record. They lost their very opener to number 7 ranked Shepherd, 54-49, and then they've won on a 5-game winning streak.
Was Shepherd in their conference as well?
Shepherd is a conference game. They are in the Mountain East Conference, and then they went on a 5-game tear where they beat Glenville State 35-10. They were at West Virginia State and pulled out a 47-35 victory. Beat Concord 44-13. We're at West Liberty, had a 5-point win there. 24-15, Fairmont, and they won last week against Fairmont State 19-14. So impressive season for the Falcons who come in here. They're a relatively new program, Rick. Notre Dame College was a all-women's school for a long time, and then I want to say maybe 15, I don't think it's 20 years, but maybe 15 years ago, they started the program up here, and they allowed men to come in. Of course, now they have a full complement of sports. Urbana similarly started their football program in the 1980s, and I had a young man come up here to visit from Florida. That's how I became acquainted with this program, and actually had a player from Cardinal Stritch High School who ended up playing here, a young man by the name of Rick Rykow, who was a starting center for them here. So we have a little history with Urbana. Urbana's headed up by Tyler Haynes, who's in his third season, and has done a really nice job with. Yard gain, so we're going to be looking at 3rd and 7 from the 45-yard line. I guess you don't throw here, Rick. I mean, etiquette would dictate that, but you never know if they just want to keep the ball and run it out. So 5:27 to go in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame's faced with a 3rd and 7, and no great hurry here for Notre Dame. Cedric Lynch, freshman quarterback, gives the ball off to Vassian Davis. Davis gets back. He's out to the 45, and his wheels kind of just died on him there as he gets to the 46. Again, the redshirt freshman kicker, who's been very impressive, Rick, with his kicks. I mean, he's kind of like put on a display here with getting the ball to turn over on his punts. And, of course, he had a couple coffin corner kicks, and he's done a really nice job for Notre Dame today. The Knights crowd the line of scrimmage, and why not, as they try to get in to block it. And Verbic gets out a quick punt, and it rolls down to picked up at the 5-yard line.
Probably not a wise idea.
No, it was just Andre Cliff again, and he gets hauled down right where he gets it at the 5-yard line. Yeah, that was a tough call there because, Notre Dame had people down on the ball, and so do you take a chance and run it back, or do you let it roll and maybe they down at the 1-yard line? But I guess I don't know at this point if it makes a whole lot of difference. So 4:25 to go, fourth quarter. Notre Dame College leads 45-7 over the Urbana Blue Knights, and Urbana will take the ball here, and so we will see a couple new people in the game here. I see number 29 for the Knights in the backfield. We'll check his name here, and that is Deshaun Watts, a running back from Columbus Centennial. And Watts with a nice...
Did he lose the ball?
No, I don't think so.
Got it.
Watts with a nice little run, gets the ball out to the 10, picks up 5 or 6 yards there, and Watts is a 5'11", 181-pound sophomore running back. They like those 180-pound kids that are in that that 5'8" to 6-foot range. Okay, Short still in a quarterback, 3 receivers to the right. Oh, and he gives it off to Watts again, and Watts is up to the 20, to the 25, out to the 27. And a nice little pop by Deshaun Watts. I'm sorry, that's Darshawn Watts, not Deshaun. Darshawn. That's what happens when you don't bring your reading glasses. So, sorry about that, Darshawn. Okay, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Chance Short, quarterback. Deshaun Watts And no, not this time.
Keeper.
Short keeps it for a short gain. You see what I did with that?
That was real tricky, Bill. We know why we brought you along now.
Yeah, you know. This is comic relief.
3 minutes remaining in this ball game.
And we've got 2nd and 10. It was like a timeout.
Yeah, I guess we've got a timeout.
And so we'll get another scary commercial.
Let's get another. Well, that's all the commercials we got.
Okay.
Scary commercial.
Final resting place, Haunted Junkyard, is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Their hours of operation are 8 p.m. till midnight every Friday and Saturday from now until October 28th. Prepare for torment from freaks of nature like Pig Boy, Patient 5150, Dr. Nightmare, and Buffalo. New in 2017 is a second attraction.
Okay, we're back to action here. 3 receivers to the right. 2nd and 10. Darshawn Watts picks up the better part of the 10 yards that they need. He picks up 6 on that carry. So we'll be looking at 3rd and 4. And we're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, 45-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons out of Euclid, Ohio. Euclid is a suburb of Cleveland, so a lot of kids to pick from up there, Rick.
Here's a few.
Okay, pistol formation for Urbana. Watts steps up to the right, a short gives the ball to Watts again, and Watts picks up a yard this time, so they're going to be looking at a 3rd and 3, and you know what, you might as well go for it at this point here.
Yeah, there's no
Under
reason.
2 minutes to go, and I think they're just going to say, let's try to get this, coach. But now it looks like they're going to punt. So Brandon Perk, who's been a busy customer here in the second half, is out to punt again for the Blue Knights. So my appreciations here to Rick Phillips, stepping in as my color analyst today, as we were stretched thin in one of our first efforts to do 2 games in the same day, Rick.
Yeah, and especially virtually together at the same time.
That's
It's not like an afternoon, evening game like we've had.
Punt rolls down to the 37-yard line, and that's where Notre Dame will take over. Rick, again, Campus Nation is looking to expand. We have a whole spectrum of high school sports that we will be broadcasting. We have college football, college basketball. We anticipate doing some semi-professional sports here.
And we've done wrestling.
We've done wrestling.
Yeah.
Car shows. Charlie does the car shows. Well, we'll get back to this in a second here. So 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. And there's the handoff to Davis again, and Davis gets the ball up to about the 34-yard line. And so, we need personnel. We need people that are interested, especially some young kids that might want to go into broadcasting. Where can they get a hold of you to find out about opportunities with Campus Nation, Talk TV, WZAA?
Well, they can email me at rphillips@campusnation.com, or they can call me. My cell phone number, 937-527-6674. Either way, get a hold of me. We can put you behind a camera. We can put you in front of the camera.
Have you work the board and whatever your expertise is here. So Cedric Lynch, quarterback, gives it off to Vasson Davis, and he picks up a couple more. And that could be the last play of the game, Rick, as time runs out here with 15 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. 45-7 in favor of the Notre Dame College Falcons. So our first effort out here at Urbana, a beautiful stadium, beautiful day.
Been great.
We thank Derek Blyberg for the accommodations and setting us up out here, and
Great food at half.
Great food at half, and we hope to be back to follow the Knights here in the future.
Do some basketball here.
Do some basketball
in the next season.
Next football season, get set up for a few more games and maybe a few primetime broadcasts. And of course, we're looking at Wilmington is still trailing 28-20.
Right, that's in the with 8:11 left in that third quarter of play. Our other network, 28-20, Marietta Pioneers over the Wilmington Fighting Quakers. Next week, we've got the Mount Union Purple Raiders coming into Wilmington, and they will be taking on the Fighting Quakers. That game will get underway with our pregame at 1 o'clock, kickoff at 1:30, and then our high school schedule for next week, the Chillicothe Cavaliers against the Washington Blue Lions. That will be a 6:30 start with a 7 o'clock kickoff. Also, the Western Brown Broncos against the Wilmington Hurricane. Once again, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff. So it's been an eventful day. We've had 2 games, one still underway there in Wilmington, and we had 2 football games last night that were good. And the Wilmington Hurricane, they won last night. They are still in the playoff hunt. They got to win out, but if they can win out, then...
and I would say the big surprise, of course, was the...
upset of Massey. And I don't even know if you can call it an upset, because I called it, and I think that, I think Goshen played... I'll tell you, the SBAAC is a very strong league, and it has a particularly good core of those... I think it's the National League, or the big school league.
American League.
American League, right. When you look at Wilmington, you look at Clinton Massey, you look at New Richmond, you look at Goshen.
Right.
Very, very strong teams.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I really am. I didn't see Massey really getting challenged coming into the league the first year. The general thought is that this was a step down from the SCLL, and it has not turned out to be that way. Of course, we saw New Richmond upset Wilmington and really beat them up pretty well physically, which has kind of damaged them for the rest of the year.
I don't see how these scores happen so quickly. We've got Marietta up 30-26 now over Wilmington.
So we've got a safety.
Right.
And then Wilmington scores a touchdown, maybe went for 2. And that's why we got the 26. But we will try to keep you posted with that.
30-26 is what we've got. 6:08. Boy, in 2 minutes we had a safety scored, as well as a touchdown with probably a failed 2-point conversion.
Yep. So a wild one over in Wilmington. And so Rick, let's take a look at the finals here for the statistics. First downs, Notre Dame 25-16 for Urbana. Rushing yards, 53 attempts for 315 yards for Notre Dame, 34 attempts for 149 for Urbana. In terms of passing, Notre Dame, 10 of 21 for 229 yards. Urbana, 9 of 30 with 2 interceptions for 186 yards. Total offense, Notre Dame, 74 plays, 544 yards. Urbana, 64 plays, 335 yards. Punt returns. We had Notre Dame College 2 for 40 yards, Urbana 1 for 1. And then kickoff returns, Urbana 7 kickoff returns for 151. Interceptions, Notre Dame had 2, returned them for 19 yards. Punting wise, Notre Dame had 8 punts and averaged 41 yards. Urbana had 9 punts and averaged 44.9. Nice job by both punters there. Notre Dame had no fumbles. Urbana had 2 fumbles and lost both of them. Penalties, 7 for Notre Dame for 75 yards. Urbana had 3 for 35 yards. Time of possession, hugely in favor of Notre Dame, 33 minutes and 22 seconds compared to 26 minutes and 38 seconds for Urbana. Third down conversions, Notre Dame was 6 of 15, Urbana 3 of 14. Fourth down conversions, Urbana was 0 for 1. Scoring red zone opportunities, Notre Dame College was 2 for 2, and Urbana was 0 for 1. Individually, leading rushers for Notre Dame, it was Brian Walker, 20 carries for 129 yards and 1 touchdown. He had a long run of 28. For Urbana, Javari Portis, 6 carries for 60 yards, a long of 32. Maurice Warren, 11 carries for 59 yards. He had a long of 17. Darshawn Watts, 4 carries for 28 yards and a long of 17. Trey McFadden added 5 carries for 19 yards and a long of 9 for Urbana. Back over to Notre Dame, Malik Grove, had 15 carries for 83 yards with a long of 33. Nehemiah Brown, 8 carries for 61 yards with a long of 44. And Vassian Davis, 7 carries for 42 yards with a long of 17. In terms of passing, Malik Grove for Notre Dame, 10 of 21, 229 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a long of 78. He was sacked 3 times. For Urbana, Chance Short was 9 of 30 with 2 interceptions, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, which went for 81 yards, and he was sacked twice. Receiving-wise, for Notre Dame, Marvell Ross, 5 catches, 164 yards, and 4 touchdowns, a long of 78 yards. Marcus Hood, 2 catches for 45 yards, a long of 36. Darius Johnson, 2 catches for 22 yards, with a long of 17. On the Urbana side, Trevon Saunders, 6 catches for 88 yards, long of 44. Riddell Rockman, 1 catch for 81 yards, which is our opening play, which went for a touchdown. Philip Dozier, 1 catch for 10 yards. And Shamar Hooks, 1 catch for 7 yards. Punting-wise, Anton Verbeek for Notre Dame, 8 kicks for an average of 41 yards with a long of 65. Brandon Perk for Urbana, 9 kicks for an average of 44.9. His long was 55 yards. In terms of punt returns, Marvell Ross, 1 for 20, and Brian Walker, 1 for 20 for Notre Dame. For Urbana, Andre Cliff, 1 return for 1 yard. Kick returns, Maurice Warren for Urbana, 7 catches for 151 yards, a long of 36. Defensively, leading the way for Notre Dame, R.J. Goodwin, 7 tackles and 2 TFLs. Sean Roy, 6 tackles. Jeffrey Thomas, 4 tackles. And Claire Theopile, 4 tackles. For Urbana, Duray Hall, 16 tackles and 1 TFL. Sherman Watson, 8 tackles. Josh Dillard, 8 tackles and half a TFL. Isaiah Turner, 6 tackles and half a sack and half a TFL. So Rick, looking at it, I think we were pretty well decided going in midway through the fourth quarter.
Who the star of the game, sir?
Marvell Ross, the receiver for Notre Dame, had 5 catches for 164 yards and 4 TDs. He is our Campus Nation Player of the Week for Notre Dame. And for Urbana, what do you think about that? We were looking at the young defensive end there for.
He did a fine job.
In the first half, he did everything he could do. So Mike Tolliver, the sophomore, who had a couple sacks and some TFLs in the first half and was creating havoc for Notre Dame, he will be our defensive player of the game for the Urbana Knights. So in wrapping it up, Rick, appreciate you being on with us. Of course, next week we will be back at Wilmington as the Purple Raiders of Mount Union take on the Quakers. I will not be able to make that game as I have some cross-country responsibilities with the high school I'm at. So
I want to thank our sponsors, the Haunted Hollow, and also the Final Resting Place. So for Bill Raybeck, this is Rick Phillips from Urbana, Ohio. So long, everybody.
See you.